Our readings today remind us that if the gospel is really good news, then we should share it with those around us. In today's first reading, Job is desperate and is in need of some good news after being so afflicted. He's lost his family, his property, and his health. His life has become a pure drudgery for him, with rest and reward that should follow still far off. How many of us in our daily lives, we look towards something that is coming up? Maybe it's the lunch hour, possibly the weekend, maybe a vacation or a long weekend. Something that we're looking for that we think will give us what we're looking for. But we have to admit that when the lunch break comes or the paycheck comes, that it doesn't satisfy us for very long. And very quickly we're back into the drudgery of our daily lives. Job shows us that we need to remember, we always need to look towards the Lord. In Job's case, he knew that his Redeemer lived. He knew that there was something for him beyond where he was today. And that makes life with a little bit of hope for us. In today's second reading, Paul reminds us that the gospel is the good news that we need to share. He lived in a world like Job's, a similar world to where we are. People need something to lift them up from their drudgery. Spreading the good news for Paul was not something that he thought he had to do, but something that he wanted to do. There was no catch to it. He wasn't selling anything. He would do whatever it took to make sure the gospel was received by the people of his time. He was an example for us that if we don't share the good news, do we really think it's good news? Then in our gospel today, we see the first moments of our Lord's earthly ministry as it continues to take shape. After an impressive demonstration of authority in the synagogue, he went to Simon Peter's home and he healed his mother-in-law. Soon the people were coming from all over the village, bringing the sick and the afflicted to him. And despite all of the success that he had at that moment, he knew that he just couldn't stay in that village, that he had to move on to the other villages to spread his word. And the good news spread fast. But today in our society, we live among people where the good news is already spread far and wide. And yet people don't come to our Lord for healing or liberation from the evil afflicting them. And that's where we have a duty to continue to spread that good news. But it's not just quoting Bible passages. It's by giving a testimony to him through the way that we live, by how we interact with people, and how we just lead our daily lives. We have a duty to do that. And those crowds in the gospel today, had they not heard everything, if our Lord had not taught, our Lord had not healed, and our Lord had not exorcised the demons. So it was those actions that brought many of those people to the Lord. And that's why it's important for us to always keep that in mind as we go through our daily lives. It's important for us to always show the people around us how important our faith is to us, how important Christ is to us. So this week, as we go through our lives, let us make an extra effort to try to show that to the people around us, to try to live our lives, to do our deeds in the way that Christ would like us to, that Christ would want us to. In that way, we can come closer to Christ and possibly bring some of the people around us to him.